My name is Paul Mueller, and I've had the privilege the last year and a half and for the next year to be the chair of the Board of Directors for United Way of Larimer County, and I have had a chance to work closely with Gordan for this very short period of time. And we want to honor Gordan today with a Lifetime Achievement Award to honor his service to our community and to our country. But I wanted to share just a personal testimony on Gordan. I bet there's probably at least half the people in this room that could share a testimonial about you, but I get to be the lucky one. Gordan contacted me in the spring of 2013. He had gotten my name as possibly somebody to be on the board, and told me a little bit about United Way and board responsibilities, and if I was interested. I shared with Gordan that I might not be the right person to join the United Way board because I hadn't participated in a workplace campaign since 1979 due to a negative experience about United Way in the old days. Gordan explained to me, though, this transformational collective impact model that United Way was getting ready to launch 4 years ago. And when he described it to me, I was like, well, that sounds big. That sounds hard. That sounds like people are going to get their hands dirty. So how can I get involved? And so, Gordan, thank you for bringing me back into the United Way family. I got to tell you, this will be my most rewarding board experience ever, and it's because of this man right here. And so, Gordan, I think we have an award here. I was told this was heavy. Good Lord, it is heavy. Here, you'll have to hold that. To honor your lifetime achievement, Gordan Thibedeau. I'll put it back. You say a few words.
Well, that's pretty embarrassing. I wondered what my wife was doing, going through all the photos and digging out some of these books, and I really had no idea, but payback. What goes around comes around. Well, it has been quite the remarkable adventure for me to be in this community and to have been the opportunity to serve the community through both Partners of Larimer County and through United Way. And you know, when I went to United Way, probably in that first week, I contacted Art Voso. I think many of you know Art, and at one time, he was the executive director of United Way. And I said, Art, you know, I know the deal here. I know about fundraising, I know about the marketing, I know about all of that. But what's the real job? What is it we're really doing at United Way? And he said something that stuck with me throughout those years, right till today. And he said, the real job is to be the voice for those that have no voice. To be the voice for those that cannot be heard, to speak on their behalf, whether that's a homeless person, whether that's somebody that's struggling with poverty, whether that's a child that's not ready for school, that's the job. Speak for them. And you know, over the course of time, we've had the opportunity, I think, to be that voice. And it has been an evolution. You know, there's been a lot of change in United Way. But that change reflected the change in our community, reflected the change in our society, reflected the change in technology, and certainly the change in the way people think about philanthropy. And we, at United Way, spent a great deal of time trying to understand what role should we play in our community to have the greatest impact. And certainly being a funder of organizations was incredibly important. We have arguably the best nonprofits in the state of Colorado, in fact in the region, and I would argue perhaps the nation, providing direct services here in Larimer County. Every year, our roster of 501c3 charitable nonprofit organizations grows. Every year, at least in the last 19 years, the need for those services has grown. And it's grown at a rate greater than you would think, based on population growth, that it should. So while we're meeting those needs of people in need when they present themselves, we're not getting ahead of the problem. And so we sat back and did a real deep dive in what have other communities done around the nation that might help us get ahead of that problem, to get in front of it so that in that 10 years' time, we could see a reduction in poverty. We could see the need diminishing. We could actually have our nonprofit partners saying, you know, we don't actually need as much money as we did last year because there's fewer people in need. So how do we do that? And we did come upon what I thought was the best approach for actually achieving those kind of results in any community, and that's this collective impact model, which really talks about how do we take each of these wonderful services and leverage their activities, their resources, their skill sets together to achieve more than any one of them can achieve alone. That was number one. And the second piece of that was that we really thought that to get the investment we want tomorrow, we get the return on investment we want tomorrow, we need to invest today in our youth, in our children. We know absolutely that if that child that's entering kindergarten today is ready, and if that child is reading at grade level when they hit the 4th grade, the likelihood is dramatically increased that they're going to have a successful K-12 experience, and they're not going to fuel the poverty rate of the future. Conversely, we know if they're not ready, that they likely will. And so it seemed to me, and to us broadly, that we needed to make that investment. We need to work with our partners today in the collective impact model, and we need to invest in our children for tomorrow. Every child should graduate from high school ready for post-secondary education. Not 70%, not 80%, but 100%. And somebody said to me one time, well, you can't ever achieve that. So I suggested to that person that they come with me down to Irish and pick out the 30% of children in that 1st grade class that they'd like to see fail. Well, of course, they didn't go with me, so, you know, but here we are today. So what I know is that United Way, as talked about in the video and talked about with Chris and Terry, is fulfilling a backbone role in the community. It's not United Way providing that direct service, but it's United Way with all of the partners that are putting together this and implementing the strategies that I believe absolutely will make a difference in 10 years' time. But you know, we're Americans and we want our returns tomorrow. And you know, when we talk about something that's going to occur in 10 years, well, that's hard. That's hard for all of us. But I would ask each of you to join us in thinking about that return on investment, making that investment today in time, talent, and treasure to see that return that we want and those headlines that we all would like to see in the Colorado. Now, you know, I am retiring. So 1 September, I'm going to be completely retired, but new CEO is coming on the 1st of August. And then I'm going to spend 30 days with that person. So I'm going to spend the next 30 days with a woman by the name of Annie Davies, who is going to be the new CEO. And she's coming with a wealth of experience, and you'll all have an opportunity to see the press release that's going out tomorrow. But I'm very excited for where the organization is going to go with new leadership. And she's definitely going to be bringing a new leadership, a new style, new energy. Somebody said to me 8 months ago, Gordon, you're the face of United Way. And I walked by a mirror and I went, They need a new face. You know, I mean, really. So I hope that you will join me in welcoming Annie to our community and working with her to achieve the greatness that we can achieve as a community. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been reflecting just a little bit on how long I've been here and how many people that I've had an opportunity to work with. So if you're currently a staff member of United Way or were ever a staff member of United Way, would you please stand? Keep standing. Don't sit down. Keep standing. Don't sit down. There's several of you missing because I know you were formerly of United Way. So if you are on the board of directors of United Way or you were ever on the board of directors, please stand. If you are and ever have been a volunteer with United Way on any of the committees or in any fashion, please stand. If you're a business that partners with United Way in a workplace campaign or in any fashion, please stand. And if you've ever contributed to United Way in any fashion, please stand. This is what we mean when we talk about living united. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your support and all that you've contributed to our community through your involvement with United Way. And you can go ahead and sit if you'd like. So. Well, I can't even begin to highlight all of the partners and partnerships we've had and that I've particularly enjoyed over the years. But I would like to mention just 4 that have been instrumental, I think, in moving the community forward in pretty substantial ways. And the first one is Sister Mary Alice Murphy. I don't know how many of you know her, but every time she would walk into my office, I would end up with another project that was at least 18 months in duration. The second one that I'd really like to highlight is our partnership with Bohemian Foundation. Very quiet, always in the background, never seeking any kind of acknowledgement, but instrumental in helping our community move forward in very, very substantial ways. The third one I'd like to mention is the Community Foundation of Northern Colorado. Is Ray Caraway here? He's not here with us today. I would offer, if you ever want to have an experience, spend 3 days with Ray in an SUV driving around Louisiana. I discovered there is somebody that can talk more than I do. A great partner who made a huge difference in our community in many, many ways. And I always talked about the Community Foundation and United Way of being the 2 sides to the same coin, that is community improvement. And the fourth one is Dr. Stan Shear, the superintendent of Thompson School District. Is Stan here? Well, Stan took a risk with us 4 years ago when I asked if he would be willing to pilot our Colorado Reading Corps project. And he said yes. And we started with a few elementary schools in Thompson School District, embedding those Colorado Reading Corps members. And in the last 2 years, we've been embedded in every elementary school in Thompson School District and now in Estes Park. And this last year, we worked with over 800 children. achieving just substantial success in bringing those children to grade reading level. And so Stan and Thompson School District, I just have to say a heartfelt thank you for all that you've done. And we already talked about CSU and the remarkable partnership that's there as well. And with virtually everyone, every business, and every nonprofit organization here, it's been a remarkable partnership. So as I leave the organization, I just want to say, on behalf of the thousands of people whose lives have been made better, thank you. Now, I was told I should drop the microphone and walk out the door. But I still have a few days left, and I don't think I want to risk that. So with that, thank you again. Paul?